There is an ancient fear that stalks every man and woman who has crossed the threshold of the 6th decade. It is not the sudden fear of a heart attack, nor the sharp fear of physical pain. Those are battles we understand. No, this is a deeper, colder fear. It is a silent fog that creeps in through the window while you aren't looking. It is the fear of standing in a room full of people you have loved for 30 years, and realizing with a jolt of panic that you cannot retrieve their names. It is the fear of looking into the mirror and seeing the eyes of a stranger staring back at you. It is the terrifying prospect of losing the narrative of your own life before the book has even closed. For generations, society has gaslit us. They told us that forgetfulness, the infamous brain fog, the slow retrieval of words, and the confusion in complex environments were just the taxes of living a long life. Doctors would shrug and say, "It is normal for your age." I am here to tell you today, with the full weight of cutting-edge neuroscience and the forgotten wisdom of our ancestors, that is a lie. Cognitive decline is not a destiny. It is not a default setting. What we dismiss as brain aging is, in many cases, a simple problem of sanitary engineering. It is a plumbing issue. Let me take you back to ancient Rome. Rome was the eternal city, a beast of 1,000,000 souls. By all logic, Rome should have collapsed under its own filth and disease within a decade. But Rome survived and thrived for centuries. Why? Not because of its legions, not because of its senate. Rome survived because of the Cloaca Maxima, the Great Sewer, a massive, intricate engineering marvel of stone and water that washed the city's toxic waste into the Tiber River every single day. Your brain is Rome. It is a bustling metropolis of 86 billion neurons, firing electrical signals, consuming massive amounts of energy, and crucially producing massive amounts of waste. For centuries, medical science believed your brain was the only organ in the body without a sewer system. They thought it recycled its own trash. They were wrong. We have recently discovered the off switch to the trash compactor inside your skull. We found the Cloaca Maxima of the human mind. Today, we are not going to talk about generic sleep hygiene. We are not going to tell you to just relax. We are going to explore the science of neural cleansing. I will walk you through the precise biological mechanism that physically washes the sticky, toxic proteins of Alzheimer's out of your neural tissue. I will explain why your grandmother's evening rituals were actually neuroprotective protocols. And I will give you a strict step-by-step blueprint to activate this system tonight, so you can wake up tomorrow not just rested, but restored. If you value your autonomy, if you value your memories, stay with me. Let's begin. Let's look at the science. For hundreds of years, anatomy textbooks were definitive. The body has a lymphatic system, a network of vessels that acts like a vacuum cleaner for our tissues, sucking up metabolic waste and immune debris. Every organ had it: the liver, the heart, the lungs, except one: the brain. This baffled physiologists. The brain is only 2% of your body weight, yet it consumes 20% to 25% of your total glucose and oxygen. It is the most metabolically active engine you own. And any engine that burns that much fuel produces a massive amount of exhaust. Proteins like Beta-Amyloid and Tau. These are metabolic byproducts. If they stay in the brain, they clump together. They form sticky plaques. They strangle neurons. This is the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. So, for decades, the question remained, how does the brain get rid of this trash if it has no lymphatic vessels? The answer arrived late, on a damp autumn day in 2012. Researchers at the University of Rochester Medical Center, led by Dr. Maiken Nedergaard, were looking at mouse brains using a new technology called two-photon microscopy. What they saw changed neurology forever. They found a hidden network of plumbing that piggybacks on the blood vessels. They called it the Glymphatic System, named after the glia cells that manage it. Why did it take us 2,000 years of medicine to find it? Because this system is a ghost. It only opens up when the organism is alive and intact. In previous centuries, we studied dead brains. In a dead brain, the system collapses and disappears. It was hiding in plain sight. Here is where the mechanism becomes fascinating. The glymphatic system is not always on. You cannot clean the streets of a city during rush hour. You have to wait until the traffic stops. Dr. Nedergaard discovered that this cleaning system is almost completely dormant while you are awake. When you are thinking, moving, and processing, your brain cells are swollen, packed tight against each other to transmit signals quickly. But When you enter deep, slow-wave sleep, a miracle happens. The brain cells, specifically the glial cells, physically shrink. They contract by up to 60% in volume. Imagine looking down at a dense forest. Suddenly, the trees shrink and wide paths open up between them. In the brain, these spaces open up between your neurons. Once the space opens, cerebrospinal fluid, the clear water that surrounds your brain, rushes in like a high-pressure tide. It is pumped through channels controlled by proteins called aquaporin 4. This fluid washes through the brain tissue, sweeping up the beta-amyloid, the tau proteins, and the metabolic toxins. It pushes them out to the veins, where they are carried to the liver and kidneys to be excreted. This is neural cleansing. If you do not sleep, or if you do not reach deep sleep, the cells do not shrink. The gates do not open. The fluid cannot enter. The trash remains. Night after night, the sediment builds up. The plaques begin to form. The connections begin to rot. This is not just aging. This is a failure of waste management. Our ancestors did not have microscopes. They did not know what a protein was. But they understood the rhythm of life. They knew that the night was for restoration, and they respected the dark in a way we have forgotten. In the pre-industrial era, before the electric light bulb shattered our circadian rhythms, sleep was different. Historian Roger Eckerich has documented that across medieval Europe, people practiced biphasic sleep. They would go to bed at sundown. They slept for about 4 hours, the first sleep. Then they would wake up around midnight. For an hour or two in the watch, they would pray, reflect, tend to the fire, or be intimate. They existed in a state of deep calm. Then, they went back for a second sleep until dawn. Why does this matter? Because they were not fighting their biology. They allowed the adenosine pressure, the chemical hunger for sleep, to dictate their rest. Today, we force ourselves into a compressed 8-hour block. We blast our eyes with blue light until 11 p.m., confusing the brain into thinking it is noon. We take pills to knock us out. We have waged war on the very mechanism designed to save our minds. And we are losing that war. You might be thinking, I sleep 8 hours, so I'm safe. Not necessarily. Later, I will explain why sleeping too deeply because of a glass of wine or a pill is actually preventing the cleaning from happening. Let's move from theory to protocol. If the brain needs to drain fluid, physics and gravity play a role. The question is simple: what is the best position to sleep in? In 2015, a study published in the Journal of Neuroscience analyzed this exact question using MRI scans and kinetic modeling. They compared 3 positions: prone, supine, and lateral. The results were undeniable. The lateral position, sleeping on your side, was significantly more efficient at clearing waste than the other 2. Why? When you sleep on your back, the gravity pushes the brain mass backward, potentially compressing the jugular veins, which are the main drainage pipes for the dirty fluid. When you sleep on your stomach, you must twist your neck to breathe, torquing the cervical spine and restricting flow. The side position is the evolutionary default. Look at a dog, a cat, or a wild ape sleeping. They curl up on their side. Tonight, start on your side. If you have broad shoulders or hip pain, use the pillow sandwich technique. 1 pillow under your head, thick enough to keep the neck straight, and 1 pillow between your knees to align the spine. You want your spine to be a straight highway for fluid, not a twisted mountain path. This next point is where 90% of modern seniors fail. We treat our bodies like multitaskers. We think we can digest a steak and clean our brain at the same time. Biologically, this is impossible. Digestion is an energy-intensive process. When you eat a heavy meal, your body initiates a process called postprandial hyperemia. It shunts a massive amount of blood flow to the stomach and intestines to break down food. But the glymphatic system also requires massive blood perfusion to generate the pressure for the cleaning fluid. It is a tug-of-war. If the blood is in the stomach, it is not in the brain. If you eat a heavy dinner at 8:30 p.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m., your body has to make a choice. It chooses survival. It digests the food. The brain cleaning is delayed or canceled. Furthermore, insulin spikes from late-night carbohydrates interfere with the release of growth hormone and melatonin. The rule is this: the kitchen must close 3 to 4 hours before sleep. If you go to bed at 10 p.m., you stop eating at 6 p.m. This mini fast allows the gut to finish its work. The migrating motor complex clears the intestines, and by the time you close your eyes, your blood is free to serve the brain. We associate cozy with warm. We bury ourselves under heavy duvets. We crank up the thermostat. This is a mistake. Your circadian rhythm is tightly locked to your core body temperature. For the brain to transition from wakefulness to deep sleep, your core temperature needs to drop by approximately 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. This drop is the biological signal that says, the sun has set. It is safe to rest. If your room is too hot or your bedding traps too much heat, your body struggles to reach that thermal low. You stay in light sleep. The cleaning doors do not open. Here is the paradoxical trick, the warm bath effect. This sounds contradictory. If I need to be cool, why take a warm bath? When you soak in warm water about 90 minutes before bed, your blood vessels dilate. Blood rushes to your skin, hands, and feet. When you step out of the bath into the cooler air, that heat radiates out of your body rapidly. It creates a thermal dump. Your core temperature plummets faster than if you hadn't taken the bath. So try a warm shower or bath 1.5 hours before bed and keep the bedroom cool. You do not need sleeping pills. You need building blocks. The brain requires specific raw materials to facilitate the shrinking of neurons and the lowering of temperature. Two molecules stand out in the history of nutrition, glycine and magnesium. Glycine is an amino acid that acts as an inhibitory neurotransmitter. It calms the firing of neurons. But more importantly, studies show that glycine helps lower body temperature, mimicking the natural onset of sleep. Where do we find it? In the connective tissues, skin, and bones of animals' parts we rarely eat anymore. This is why the bone broth of our grandparents was medicinal. A cup of bone broth is a glycine bomb. Magnesium is the relaxation mineral. It is essential for over 300 enzymatic processes. In the brain, it regulates the NMDA receptors, preventing overexcitation. Most seniors are deficient in magnesium because our soil is depleted and we eat processed foods. Consider a small cup of warm bone broth in the evening. If you use supplements, precision matters. Do not buy magnesium oxide. That is a laxative. It stays in the gut. You need magnesium glycinate or magnesium threonate. These forms cross the blood-brain barrier. 200 to 400 milligrams 1 hour before bed. Now, a warning. There is a specific class of medication, often prescribed for anxiety, that works by effectively knocking you unconscious. But unconsciousness is not sleep. I will explain the benzodiazepine trap shortly. Let's talk about light. But not in the way you hear on the news. You have cells in your eyes called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. They have nothing to do with vision. They are photon counters. They are connected directly to the master clock of the brain. When these cells detect high-intensity light and blue-spectrum wavelengths, they scream to your brain, "IT is noon, hunt, gather, be alert." They instantly shut down the production of melatonin. Melatonin is not just a sleep hormone. It is the key that starts the glymphatic engine. The problem is not just your phone. It is your house. Standard LED bulbs emit a massive spike in the blue spectrum. If you have your overhead kitchen lights on at 8 p.m., you are physiologically time-traveling to 12 p.m. Follow the sunset rule. After sunset, no overhead lights. Use lamps at eye level or below. This mimics the angle of a campfire or the setting sun. Switch your evening bulbs to warm white or use smart bulbs turned to red. Red light has the least impact on melatonin. And practice a digital sunset. If you must use a screen, use amber glasses. But better yet, pick up a book. Paper reflects light. Screens emit light. The difference to your brain is massive. We established that the glymphatic system washes the brain with fluid, water, so logic dictates. I should drink water before bed. Wrong. This is a common error. If you overload your bladder right before sleep, you trigger nocturia, the need to wake up and urinate. Every time you wake up, get out of bed, turn on the light, and walk to the bathroom, you rip your brain out of the deep cleaning cycle. You have to start the cycle all over again when you return to bed. It's like stopping a washing machine mid-cycle. The clothes don't get clean. You must hydrate, but you must do it strategically. Front-load your water. Drink 80% of your daily intake before 6 p.m. Between 6 p.m. and bedtime, taper off. Right before bed, take only the sip of Saturn. Just enough to moisten the mouth and throat, but not enough to fill the kidneys. Absolute silence is unnatural. In nature, there is always the wind, the rustle of leaves, the distant stream. For a modern human, absolute silence often amplifies the internal noise, the ringing in the ears or the racing thoughts. Furthermore, sudden noises like a car door or a dog can spike cortisol and wake you up. Science suggests that pink noise is superior for the elderly brain. White noise is static. Pink noise has deeper tones like heavy rain or a waterfall. Studies show that pink noise can actually synchronize with your brain waves, boosting the amplitude of the slow waves. It acts as a metronome for deep sleep. Use a simple sound machine or fan, set it to a deep, consistent rumble. It creates a sonic shield around your sleep environment. You have the position. You have the temperature. You have the darkness. But then, the mind starts. Did I pay the electric bill? Why hasn't my son called? What if the test results are bad? This is ruminative thinking. It keeps the brain in beta wave state, preventing the slide into relaxation. You cannot force your mind to stop thinking, but you can give it a container. Marcus Aurelius practiced the view from above. Before sleep, close your eyes. Imagine yourself leaving your body. Float up above your roof. See your house. Then float higher. See your town, the grid of lights. Float higher. See the curve of the earth. From this height, your worries about the bill or the phone call look microscopic. You detach from the immediate anxiety and connect with the whole. Alternatively, perform a brain dump. Keep a notebook by your bed. If a worry appears, write it down. Tell your brain, I have recorded this. It is safe on the paper. I do not need to hold it in my neurons anymore. Externalize the worry so you can internalize the rest. We are now entering the final, most critical section. We are going to confront the 3 chemical mistakes that are destroying the brains of the 60-plus population. Here we must be brutally honest. Culturally, we view the nightcap, the glass of whiskey or wine as a sleeping aid. It knocks me out. You say yes, it does. But sedation is not sleep. Alcohol is a potent central nervous system depressant. It shuts down the cortex, you lose consciousness. But inside the brain, chaos is unfolding. Alcohol completely fragments your sleep architecture. It suppresses REM sleep. But specifically for the glymphatic system, alcohol is a diuretic. It dehydrates you. Remember, the system needs fluid to wash the waste. If you are dehydrated, the pressure drops. The wash is weak. Furthermore, alcohol causes rebound alertness. As the alcohol is metabolized halfway through the night, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline, waking you up at 3 a.m., unable to fall back asleep. The truth, if you want to save your memory, alcohol cannot be a sleep aid. It must be a treat enjoyed hours before bed, with plenty of water or not at all. This is sensitive, but vital. Many of you have been prescribed drugs ending in PAM or LAM, or the Z drugs for sleep. These drugs work by binding to GABA receptors. They are incredibly effective at making you unconscious. However, emerging research suggests a dark side. These drugs change the structure of sleep. They reduce the time spent in the deepest slow-wave sleep. Remember, the glymphatic gates only open in deep, slow-wave sleep. By taking the pill to sleep, you might be chemically locking the gates that allow your brain to clean itself. This is why long-term use of these drugs is statistically linked to a higher risk of dementia. Warning: never stop these medications cold turkey. That can be dangerous. But talk to your doctor. Ask about a tapering plan. Ask about cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia as a non-chemical alternative. We have covered the night, but the secret to the night lies in the day. The biggest mistake retired people make is snacking on sleep. You nap for 30 minutes in the chair at 10 a.m. You doze off watching TV at 2 p.m. You think, I'm just resting. Here is the mechanism. Adenosine. Adenosine is a chemical that builds up in your brain every minute you are awake. It is like the weight on a pendulum clock. The longer you are awake, the heavier the weight gets. This weight is sleep pressure. You need massive sleep pressure to push you into that deep cleansing coma we discussed. When you nap, even for 20 minutes, you vent that pressure. You release the valve. You arrive at 10 p.m. with low pressure. Your body doesn't need deep sleep, so it gives you shallow sleep. The golden rule: you must earn your sleep. Morning light. Within 30 minutes of waking, get outside. The photons hitting your eyes reset the timer for tonight's melatonin. No sleep snacking. If you are tired at 2 p.m., go for a walk. Wash your face with cold water. Fight it. Physical exhaustion. A sedentary body does not need deep sleep. A body that has walked, lifted, or stretched demands repair. Build the hunger. Make your brain beg for the pillow. That is how you get the wash. Why does this matter? Why go through the trouble of red lights, bone broth, and side sleeping? Is it just to live to be 90? No. Mere longevity is vanity. We do this for clarity. A clear mind is the most precious resource of a family. You are the library. You are the keeper of the stories, the recipes, the wisdom of the lineage. If that library burns down because of neglect, the whole family becomes poorer. The fog of dementia is not just a tragedy for you. It is a theft from your grandchildren. But the good news is, you have the controls. The inputs are simple. The mechanism is proven. The cloaca maxima is waiting to open. Tonight, when you lay your head down on the pillow, you are not just sleeping. You are initiating a rescue mission for your own soul. Close the kitchen. Dim the lights. Lie on your side. Let the waters flow. This is the wise guardian. End of transmission. Disclaimer. This content is for educational and informational purposes only regarding the history of health and wellness protocols. It is not medical advice. I am a narrator, not a doctor. Always consult your physician before changing your diet, starting supplements like magnesium, or altering your medication schedule.